Okay, everyone, this is my spoiler review of the Euphoria Season 2 finale. I got to watch this one live with all of you people. We didn't get screeners for this, so I was bracing myself all day to watch this. I was very excited to watch it. I sat through the HBO Max crash with all of you. Pretty impressive. That's how many people are watching the show. It reminds me of the days of Game of Thrones where HBO Go would crash. We all remember HBO Go. I kind of missed that name. But anyway, I had a lot of thoughts last week about this Lexi play. And before we even get to Lexi's play in this episode, let's just address the elephant in the room, which is that scene with Elliot, aka Dominic Fike. I mean, I was just waiting for that to end. It just kept going and going and going. And I actually think I would have been less pissed off at it if he wasn't a music artist in real life. It felt so corporate. It felt like I was being sold something. It felt like I was watching a music video that would be attached to Euphoria somewhere else to sell a single that we go download his music on Spotify. It irked me. I hate stuff like that. And I absolutely hated that scene. And also, it was just awkward and not even like earned between these two characters, especially with Elliot to have that big moment in the finale and to awkwardly look in Rue's eyes that long. I was like, this is just ridiculous. I did not like that. I think a lot of people agree with me on that one because, wow. I just don't know how stuff like that gets through. But maybe Dominic Fike is a genius businessman, has a great agent, and gets that signed in on the contract for being the show. Who knows? Play my music, basically. So, yeah, cringe. So, anyway, I had said my thoughts about the play with Lexi and that it was strange that they had chose to put that in the penultimate episode. It's even showing you how much it slowed down everything even for the finale here, because I feel like these last two episodes have just been brought to a halt with this Lexi play. It's forcing everything to stop. It's forcing everything to be in the same kind of area, and I think that actually backfires and hurts it here. And like I said, this story that they focused in on with Lexi and then kind of connecting it a lot to Rue, which I liked finally, reminding us of their friendship and having these themes where they can bond over with their issues in life. And again, this would have just been great in the middle of a season. Like, there should be 2 more episodes to this season. This doesn't feel like a finale. And parts of it do, right? Like, the finale type stories we're getting is what's happening with Fez, what's happening with Nate. But, man, some of this just felt all over the place. In particular, bizarre things happening. Like, everyone's waiting for this big moment with Cassie blowing up. They literally made it the cliffhanger last week. And we literally see her head get bashed into a wall by Maddie, and then they're in the bathroom and everything's cool. I would have loved to seen how the hell they went from that moment to just chilling in the bathroom. And I always say I'm not a fan of the Susie character. She's the worst mom ever. I'm still trying to figure out how her daughter runs away, is getting attacked, goes missing, and she doesn't even look for her. She just sits down and continues watching Lexi's play. Yes, I get she's supporting her daughter's play, but literally, her daughter is literally getting attacked by someone, does not care. It's just frustrating. It's the weirdest character to me. And, there's a lot going on in this episode, and a lot of people are going to talk about the crazy stuff that happened with Ashtray. Now, Ashtray makes a silly mistake, but he is a kid, so I can justify it, where he decides to go for Custer's throat when it was really Faye who was doing the smart thing by covering for Fez, letting him know what was happening, but then throwing Lori under the bus on the phone for the cops. That would have been the perfect out for them. Why even kill Custer, So they needed Fez's word. They needed Faye's word or Ash's word. They weren't going to get it now because, Faye warned him. So they didn't need to kill the guy. So the kid made a silly mistake. But for people who are confused about why he did what he did with holding up in the bathroom, it's because he wasn't going to let Fez go down for him. Now, I think this did come off a little too trying to shock people for a finale, having Ashtray be shot, and it just didn't land for me. And I think that it just was all this hype of what's going to happen with Fez, and, he's late for the play, and he sadly sees his brother get shot in front of him, but I don't know. I just thought it wasn't that exciting. A lot of this finale, I was tuning out in my head. I was bored, and even in a scene that should be edge of your seat, it was in a sense, but it also wasn't, because it was just kind of all silly to me. And I know I'm being hard here, but again, this is how I feel, and this is a show I usually really like, but I have a lot of issues with it when it kind of gets all over the place, and I don't feel like Sam Levinson is someone with a clear vision with this show. And this show this season in particular feels like it's just going episode by episode and that there isn't this clear plan. And I'm worried again, like I said, about the constant circle you're feeling about this show and not forward momentum. And, it looks like Maddie and Cassie are going to find some kind of peace here, bonding over not liking Nate. And then it's like, okay. And then they rush in Jules having any kind of moment with Rue. And Rue's saying, she's sober, but it's still not really for her yet. So we know she's going to relapse at some point again in the show. And yes, that's the life and what's realistic with drug addicts. But where is it all still making me excited? I have no excitement for season 3. I'm sitting here like, okay, like, great, thank you. Like, I think there is a problem too where Sam Levinson, he's so talented, but he's so in his own head sometimes, I think. And he's forgetting the part of creating where you're making a show, right? And it's like, you also have to think, how is this affecting my audience? How is this also entertaining? It's not just what am I artistically feeling? It's how is this speaking to different people? And maybe I get that argument now that maybe he needs another voice in that writer's room. Somebody just like to just steer the ship a bit. Cause I feel like he's a mad genius in a sense, but with no structure, no guidance. That's what frustrates me. And I think that needs to change for future seasons for sure. And that's also a bizarre thing too, where I appreciate shows doing something differently. And, what's Euphoria's claim to fame is like, you don't know what's going to happen with the show. It's so hard to define what even genre it is, where it falls. But I do get annoyed that how do I go from this play stuff that feels very Degrassi to stuff that feels very Breaking Bad? It's such a switch that if you didn't know the show Euphoria and you saw someone watching it and they flip between the play scenes and then this Ashtray scene, you'd be like, did you put on a different show? Like, it has to still feel connected enough and justified enough tonally where I think it's actually too extreme, where I'm getting annoyed because I'm someone, like I've said, I really enjoyed the episode with the intervention, right? And episode 1 where it did feel that very Ozark Breaking Bad feel. And I think he does that great, Sam Levinson. And I'm sitting there through all the play stuff wanting more of that. And I feel like I'm getting bored because my head is somewhere else. I'm in a different world with that stuff. And then I'm back at this play and watching just a cat fight. Like, I don't know. That's what just frustrates me, where I think season 1 just did a better job of keeping some consistent tone there, keeping better structure, and again, showing and not feeling like it was going episode by episode as it was going along. So, it's not all bad here. I think that there's a lot of good stuff going on here that need to happen with Lexi and Rue. It's just the timing of where it is in the season is frustrating. It almost feels like they just wedged in, like, you know what? We haven't done much with Lexi in the show in general. This is her time to shine. But to give her the penultimate and the finale for a character we barely knew about and just overloading us with her story actually really taking the center and then sprinkling in the Rue stuff really is frustrating. And that's going to go too. Have we forgotten about the Lori story and how is Rue just fine now and Lori's okay with her robbing her of this money? Okay, so there's no consequence for that, right? So, and that's not even addressed with anybody in her life. Really frustrating. Why am I getting so mad? I don't really know. But, I think overall this was the weakest episode to me because I just wasn't buying it. I just wasn't enjoying it. I didn't like what it was doing. So I'm giving this one a 7.1. I think it's disappointing. And I think the last 3 episodes of this season were very disappointing. I thought there was a really strong point where we had this new Labyrinth song introduced with the church singing. And from where that went on to then the intervention episode was just brilliant to me. And I'm so disappointed that this kind of just felt sloppy these last 3. And this decision to do the play, I just feel like if the play wasn't in this moment or if it was a different episode, this would change everything. But everything revolved around this freaking play. And I think it just took away so much from a show that could have just shined here and finished strong. And that's what, again, it's too reflective, right? It's halting it. It's a reflective play. It's just someone reflecting almost on their own show. Now, I like this stuff with Cal and Nate. Nate actually brings Cal to the cops here and has the USB drive, so he's going to go to jail for his crimes, the father of the underage stuff. And then, again, I don't think still there was enough time, and even in the end here with Nate and Cal, I don't think there's enough time with a lot of people. We still have no story with Kat. So that's the frustration. Look, not every mouth is going to get fed here, but it just feels so like detached even from 3 episodes ago what show I'm watching now. So, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. I've told you my score for the season as a whole. I would have said I was excited to hope that season 2 would be better than season 1 because I love the premiere. I love those 2 episodes in the middle, but I do think it's actually now weaker than season 1. So season score, because again, we such high highs here and such low lows for me personally. So I would say season score for this season, I'd still give it about an 8.3, but Sam Levinson's got to tighten things up, structure it. Look, I love art. I love anything that's super artsy too. And that visually, the cinematographer is amazing here, right? But the script's got to be just better. It has to be better. Let me know what you thought, though. What season you liked better? What you thought of the finale? If you agree with me, disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me on my Euphoria reviews. I really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. It helps me in so many ways. You have no idea. And if you really love what I do here, if you become a member today, you get exclusive perks and it'll help me do this full time one day. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.